So as Palantir is about to hit $160 per share, I have taken some time off my vacation. I'm actually in Bangkok in Thailand, and I want to talk to you guys because I think it's important somebody has an honest, mature, nuanced conversation with the Palantir retail investing community because I want you guys to succeed. I want you guys to do well. I'm never going to sugarcoat anything. I'm never going to be playing the tunes that I think you want to hear. Like a good friend, I'm here to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Now, just to kind of set the record straight, I'm a huge believer in giving back, right? If Palantir has changed so many lives, myself included, my community included, it has transformed the way people think about the entire retail investing community. All of a sudden, Wall Street understands that sometimes retail gets better, right? Palantir is a prime example of that. And I do believe we as a community, we owe a lot to Palantir and we'll be there to watch its back if the feet hit the shan, for sure. Having said that, I think a lot of people who have started investing over the past few years, I'm saying 2023 and onwards, they assume that whatever it is that's been going on with the share price over the past 2 years can just continue indefinitely. And we're just going to ride it out in a linear fashion all the way from 160 to 500. Now, I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen, folks. Unfortunately, I wish this would be the case, but it's not. The 600 PE, 300 forward PE, this cannot last. It's not going to be sustainable over the short term. A Palantir correction is not just probable, it is inevitable. It's not about if, it's about when. Now, it's not going to surprise me if it happens in 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, a year, 2 years. I don't have any way to time and to predict when this is going to happen. I don't know what predict means. I think I meant precisely predict, right? What we need here is either a crystal ball and DeLorean with 1.1 gigawatts from the film Back to the Future, or some sort of a contraption where we can travel in time and see. But since none of us are time travelers, there is no way for us to know when this inevitable correction is going to happen. Because the corrections, they're not a bug, they're a feature of the system. And the pudding proves that. If you look at what Palantir has done over the past few years, you'll see how the cycle played itself out already once, and it's going to do it again, and then again, and again, and again, the same way it's been doing for the past 100 years. If you look at Palantir, it launched with a lot of hype in 2020. It rode all the way up to 2021 from $10 to $40. Then the crash happened, and for 1 year, we went from $40 to $6. And then the new hype cycle started. We're now from $6 all the way to $150. And then at some point, the hype cycle is going to end, and the stock is going to correct again. And the cycle is going to keep repeating itself because even great generational stocks like Palantir, and I'll talk about why I think Palantir is going to be the most important software company in the world in about 5 years. But even companies like this, they're not immune to the life cycle of how stocks behave in the short term. Nothing is linear. When everybody is playing by the same rules, Palantir ain't no different. So the shakeoff is coming. If you think this is going to last to infinity, it's not. The stock is going to correct. The price is going to correct. At some point, the bubble is going to pop, and then Palantir is going to shrink, and then a new hype cycle will start, et cetera, et cetera. In the short term, as Benjamin Graham wisely put it, the stock market is a voting machine. Everybody now is loving Palantir. The sentiment is great. Everybody's piling into Palantir. However, that voting can change real quick if we have a bad sentiment or bad macro or something happens that doesn't fit the narrative. Everybody will be running away like mice from a drowning ships, or rats, or is it mice? I don't know. But you get the point, right? And then like we've seen it just in February. In February, we had a 50% drop in Palantir share price almost instantaneously, right? But that shouldn't scare you as a long-term investor. If you are trading and you're a swing trader, obviously that's a huge issue that you have to be concerned about. But as a long-term investor, and I'm here to explain this, it's not really a point of concern to you. And I'll explain why. So as a long-term investor, you understand that you're going to have a lot of volatility with a stock like Palantir, a lot of volatility with a stock like Tesla. It's a very volatile, unpredictable short-term behavior. But as also Benjamin Graham once put it, the best friend of a phenomenal business is time. So if you just give it enough time, the market is going to correct back whatever shakeoffs happen, and the stock price will eventually go higher and higher and higher. It just doesn't happen in a linear fashion. Instead of doing this, it's going to do this. Okay, we know that. We, as experienced investors, have seen it so many times before. We don't get scared when this happens. Okay, a lot of you have started investing in 23, 24 in the past 2, 3 years, and it's going to scare you when that happens because it feels like this is the end of the world. The media is going to change its tune right away because the media just wants headlines and your attention. They're going to be panicking and basically telling you to sell. And a lot of retail investors will sell at the bottom. They'll take a 70% loss, and then they say, well, I can't take that anymore, and then they'll sell, which is something that happens every single cycle. Okay, so how do you, as a long-term Palantir fan and as a long-term Palantir believer, how do you handle this? Okay, so number one, I just want to point out that if you're not a Palantir hardcore believer, if you haven't built a strong thesis in Palantir, if you don't have the foundational understanding of why you think this is the most important company in the making in the world, why this is like a Microsoft level company and even potentially bigger, if you don't have that, but you accidentally stumbled ass backwards into this great investment, which basically gave you all this money, well, you have two options here. You either can build conviction now before the stock does the correction, or you can get out because you can say, well, look, I don't have conviction. If this thing plummets, I don't have any tools that will help me to hold on to this when it drops, right? So you can either build conviction now or you can get out. These are the two options. You certainly don't want to be trying to build conviction as the stock is plummeting downwards. I mean, it's like trying to game plan for a fight when you're already being shot at, right? You're probably better game planning before you go outside and you go to the battlefield, right? Same thing here. While things are good, when the stock's still flying high, this is the time to think, look, I don't know anything about the stock. I bought because everybody were buying it. It did whatever percent it did. Should I stay? Should I leave? Let's think about it. Do you want to put in the effort and learn about this company and build conviction? That's option one. Maybe you say, well, I had my profits. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to sell out. Also fine, right? So that's for you who don't know anything about the stock and you just bought accidentally. If you're a long-term investor in Palantir and you have the conviction and you've been following the stock for years and you know all about AIP and the boot camps and you love Alex Karp and Sham Sankar, you think the team is phenomenal, the product literally sells itself, it is a monopoly in the AI world on the software side, and you think about the company like that, well, you also have two options. Option number one, you can just hold on to dear life and just say, look, I'm invested for the next 15 years. See you in 2040. I don't care what happens from here to 2040, right? A lot of people that I know did this with Microsoft and Apple for decades, and it rewarded them for the most part, right? Why would I say for the most part? I think it rewarded them point blank, period, right? But it's not a journey that's suitable for every single person out there, and I'll explain. If you go right now and you hang out on the harbor, right? And the captain with a tuna fishing captain comes in and says, "Look, we're going out to the sea to fish for tuna in Alaska. It's a very, very hard work. It pays very well, right? It pays very well, but it's not for everyone. It's very vicious. You're not going to see your family for a while. It's very rough conditions. You don't get a lot of sleep. It's very dangerous, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? But it pays really well." So if people are standing on the shoreline saying, well, should I do this? Okay. I would say that about 80% of us are not suitable for that work, myself included. I am not stupid enough to go on a tuna fishing vessel in Alaska. I know that that's not for me. I know I'm not going to be able to survive that. That's not something that I'm able to do. So even though the money is great, I'm still going to be honest with myself. I'm going to say, look, it's not for me, right? There's probably about 20% of people in the world, maybe less, that are suitable for that. Who's going to come on that boat, just going to, hunker down, do the work, get paid, and just say, hey, just another Tuesday, okay? The majority are not like that, okay? So in the world of Palantir, there's two types of investors. They're the tuna fishermen who don't care. They're just going to hold on for the next 20 years. They don't care about the volatility. They couldn't care less. And then there are people who are normal people who actually get concerned when the share price drops by 30, 40, 50, 60%, people who freak out, people who that impacts their mental well-being, everyday kind of feeling. And that's okay. Most people don't like to see 60, 70% drops in their portfolio. I mean, you'd have to be a lunatic psychopath to not be emotionally distressed when you see that happen, right? And if you're not part of the tuna fisherman group, if you're not part of that 20% that can do it, that can live through that volatility and just absolutely say, I don't care, just not on Tuesday, there's no shame in that. Most people cannot, and that's fine. Instead of pretending that you're an NBA player, instead of pretending that you have a 45-inch vert, instead of pretending that you can be a tuna fisherman, just say, look, I'm going to be honest with myself here. A lot of volatility in Palantir isn't going to do me good. I'm going to be distressed. I'm going to be stressed. I'm going to be an asshole to my friends and my family. I'm going to be worried. I'm not going to sleep well. I'm not going to eat well. I'm going to be, not going to be able to enjoy anything. And it might take a whole year until the stock corrects again, maybe 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. Instead of going through all of that, I can trim a little bit right now. When the stock is at 160, I can sell 10%, 20%, 30%. And then if the stock drops, I can sit back and say, guys, I actually sold a third, so I'm good. Whatever happens, I already took profits on the third that position, which means that I'm protected. I bought insurance. Whew, I can rest easy. And you still have 70% of your current investment in play, which means if the stock accidentally goes to 170, 180, 190, 200, 250, who knows when it stops before it corrects, then you say, well, 70% of my investment is still riding, so I'm enjoying the benefit. So this is kind of a win-win for you. And that's okay, even if you're already trimmed. Some people have trimmed at 90. Some people have trimmed at 100. Some people trimmed at 120. It's okay to trim multiple times. 10% there, 10% there, 20% there, 20% there. It's okay. It's okay to trim and then to take that money, put it on the sideline, and then slowly deploy it back, DCA the little piece every once in a while back into Palantir. So let's say you have $1 million of position right now. You sell 200,000, and then you use that 200,000 to slowly DCA to Palantir the next 2 years. And then you relax if something happens, but if it flies up, you still have 800,000 playing. So you're fine, right? For those of you who are real legit tuna fishermen, I salute you. I think you guys are awesome. I'm very, very proud of you. For you, you shouldn't sell. For you, you should just stay there and, just say, look, I'll see you in 2040, folks. Some people that I've talked to basically saying, look, I'm not going to sell these stocks. This is going to be my inheritance. Right? Palantir is going to be my inheritance to my kids. I don't plan to sell this ever, right? And that's okay too. I mean, we all have different preferences. We're all different people. If that's the case, that's the case. Now, whatever it is you are, be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. And then plan accordingly now before the feet hit the sand, before it's too late to plan ahead. When you're ready in the spin cycle of the market craziness, it's going to be too late to think about these things because you're going to be emotionally compromised. Think about it now. Now, again, it doesn't take away anything from your long-term thesis. It doesn't make you less of a long-term investor if you trim a little bit now and take some cash. You can still remain a long-term investor in DCA into Palantir and believe that Palantir is going to be the best, biggest, most important software company in the world, and still trim a little bit right now for insurance and for risk management. Because at the end of the day, you want to be a grown-up. You want to be somebody who's not just YOLOing and saying, I don't care. And then when it happens, it's really painful, right? Don't be brave now when things are hyped. In times of bullish runs, people have this infinite time horizons on their investments. And then when the feet hit the sand, all of a sudden the horizons, they really tend to shrink a lot. So don't be honest with yourself, okay? Now, again, I believe that Palantir is going to be the world's most important software company. I think NVIDIA and Palantir are two of the world's biggest, most important monopolies. Whoever wins the AI large language models war, whoever owns the AI generative space, they're going to have to work with NVIDIA and Palantir. I mean, there's no other place. It's monopolies. You have AMD in the background a little bit with NVIDIA, but NVIDIA basically owns the chips, the hardware. Palantir owns the operating system. They're really the only game in town that anybody's willing to play. So whoever wins, Palantir and NVIDIA are sitting on the sideline being absolutely agnostic, saying, we don't care. Okay? So for that purpose, I'm extremely bullish on Palantir. The product is unrivaled. There's nobody that comes close. The team is phenomenal. They have a top 3 CEO in the world right now with Alex Karp, who I'm extremely bullish on. The product, the team, the mix, the strategy, the mission, and how important they are to the Western side of the story here. Because now you're seeing that Alex Karp was right about what's going on in the world. He was talking about this 15 years ago, right? And on top of this, people were saying, well, Palantir, we're investing for the commercial aspects, but I don't think none of us really realized how big the government side of things are going to be for Palantir. We thought government is going to be phased out in favor of the commercial, but now with the AI arms race going on in the world between governments, all of a sudden the government side is pretty much set up to be just as big as the commercial side. So for Palantir, $2, $3, $4 trillion valuation in 5 to 10 years is definitely within the realms of possibility, and that's why I'm extremely bullish. But I'm also responsible, and I'm a grown up, and I can say, look, I don't belong to a cult, and I appreciate Palantir, and I'll protect it. I'll be thankful, and I'll give back, because it changed my life. But then again, if I need to trim a little bit and buy some insurance, sell 10, 20%, 30%, and just protect myself against anything that may happen, that's fine too. It doesn't make me, less of a Palantir investor, less of a Palantir enthusiast, a bull, whatever you want to call it, right? So think long and hard how you want to deal with this before things start to basically get out of hand. Because when things start to get out of hand, it's going to be very, very, very hard to think about these things, because you're also going to be so distressed. The headlines and the media are going to be so out of control. It's going to be like playing this game on extreme expert mode. Now, when you strategize, you can strategize on easy mode. Sit back, relax, and just have a plan. Why not? Now, if you want to have a clear plan for Palantir as well as other stocks and be prepped for whatever's coming, join our academy, patreon.com/Tom Nash. Join the Rook Academy. We have 22,000 students. It's been an incredible ride to teach you all investing and to make long-term investing cool again, which has always been my mission. And I can just tell you that, look, I'm not going to give you stock picks if you join, and maybe it's going to be too hard for you, and that's fine as well. But if you actually are serious about committing to learning proper long-term investing, join the academy. I think you'll learn a lot. And as always, we have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if it's not for you, it's not for you. There's no risk on you. You can join. I'll refund you if you don't like it for any reason. And I'll see you in the next one, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to go back to having fun in Bangkok. I'll see you next